Good morning, children. Today in English class 11, the summer of the beautiful white horse, we'll resume the lesson. That is, the question Aram had put to Murad. He asked him that how long ago did he ride the horse, but Murad was not prepared to share the secret with him, that where he got the horse from or where did he steal it from. So not until this morning, he said. So he answered, he responded that not until this morning, that means today was the first time for him as well. That is the first time that he also took a ride on the horse. So he says, "Are you telling the truth?" I said. So Aram was not prepared to accept that. So he questioned him again that, is it the truth? Was he speaking the truth? Of course not, he said. But if we are found out, that's what you are to say. I don't want both of us to be liars. All you know is that we started riding this morning. So what he meant to say, his implication was that, of course not. That means he agreed, he admitted the fact that he was not speaking the truth. But at the same time, he says, but if we are found out, that means if somebody sees them, if they are caught riding the horse or with the horse, that's what you are to say. In that case, if Aram responds, if somebody sees them and they are asked that where did they get the horse from and how did they happen to be in possession of that horse and when did they go for the ride, his response would be obviously that today only was the first time that they took a ride on that horse. So in that case, Aram would not be speaking a lie. What he actually meant was, I don't want both of us to be liars. Because in the case of Murad, it would be a lie if he said that they went to take a ride on the horse today only, this morning only. But if Aram responded, it would be true in his case because today was actually the first time that he took a ride on that horse. So in that case, he would not be speaking a lie. And Murad did not want both of them to be liars, both of them to be speaking a lie. So that is what he conveyed to Aram. All you know is that we started riding this morning. That means he said it is enough. It is sufficient for you to know the fact that today we went for a ride for the first time. So that way, he would be, Murad would keep quiet and Aram's response would be that they went for a ride this morning only. All right, I said. So finally, Aram agreed. He walked the horse quietly to the barn of a deserted vineyard. Deserted would mean that is a place which has been abandoned, where nobody comes over there. Vineyard, which at one time had been the pride of a farmer named Fitvigian. There were some oats and dry alfalfa in the barn. Barn is a place where animals are kept and the feed is kept. So they walked to this barn of this farmer whose name was Fitvigian, and there they intended to keep the horse, and there were some oats that would be given to the horse also. So which meant that Murad had ensured that he would be looked after also and fed properly too. We began walking home. So after they hid the horse in that barn, they walked back home towards their home. It wasn't easy, he said. He said, to get the horse to behave so nicely. So he shared with Aram now that initially the horse was very wild. It was difficult to manage him. It was difficult to control him. So initially he is sharing with Aram that the horse created a trouble, that he did not behave so nicely. At first, it wanted to run wild, but as I've told you, I have a way with the horse. I can get it to want to do anything I want it to do. Horses understand me. So he's further sharing with Aram his experience that initially when he began to ride that horse, it was wild. It was not tamed. It was difficult to control him. But he says, further on, he is admitting, I have a way with a horse. That meant that now he's established an understanding. The animal and Murad have become good friends. They've been able to understand each other. And because of this understanding, so he is able to control it and he has been able to tame it also. So that is what he says, I can get it to want to do anything I want it to do. That means the horse has become obedient, the horse has become tamed, and therefore he understands and does whatever he is instructed to do so. horses understand me. So there's a good understanding that has developed between the two of them. How do you do it? I said. Obviously, Aram is very impressed by the skill and the art of Murad handling the horse so well. He says, how do you manage to do it? I have an understanding with the horse, he said. He says that I have an understanding. That means the horse and me, both have become good friends. I have an understanding, and therefore we have come to a good understanding between the two of us. So he follows my instructions. Yes, but what sort of an understanding? I said. Now Aram is still perplexed. He's still not able to comprehend. He's still not able to understand what kind of an understanding and how has he managed to do that. A simple and honest one, he said. That meant that Murad is honest and genuine about his feelings. He is concerned about the animal. He's loving, caring and kind. So this simple and honest relationship that has been established between Murad and the horse. Well, I said, I wish I knew how to reach an understanding like that with a horse. So Aram is longing, he is also wishing, his desire is. What does he desire? That he also is able to have an understanding with the horse the way Murad has come to have it. So he is impressed and also wishes to do the same and having an understanding with the horse. You're still a small boy, he said. Well, you've got to be 13, you'll know how to do it. So now Murad is trying to boast about it, his skill in handling the horse, and he says, and he tells him that you grew up a little bit. Aram is 9 years old, whereas Murad is 13 years old, older than him. So he's telling him that you grow up a little bit, become a little more mature, and by then you will also be able to have the same kind of understanding that I have with a horse. I went home and ate a hearty breakfast. So they returned home, and after he went home, Aram had a hearty breakfast. Hearty, one can say a good amount of breakfast, substantial, good amount of breakfast. That afternoon, my uncle Khosrow came to our house. Now they had a visitor. Now Aram was at his place after he had his breakfast. That particular afternoon, that day, Uncle Khosrow visited them. He came to our house for coffee and cigarettes. He used to come sometimes, so today was the time when he visited them. He sat in the parlor, sipping and smoking and remembering the old country. He sat in the parlor, that is his sitting room, and enjoyed his coffee as well as smoked his cigarette. Then another visitor arrived. While Uncle Khosrow was there, they had another visitor, and that another visitor was nobody else but a farmer, John Byrow, who was the actual owner of the horse Murad had stolen. So he says that another visitor arrived, that visitor, a farmer named John Byrow, an Assyrian, who out of loneliness had learned to speak Armenian. Now, he was an Assyrian, while this tribe was Armenian, but he would have been lonely, he would have been isolated, so he learned the Armenian language in order to communicate with the rest of the people around, with the rest of the tribe. So he came and visited Aram's place. My mother brought the lonely visitor coffee and tobacco. She served him also some coffee and tobacco, and he rolled a cigarette and sipped and smoked. And then at last, sighing sadly, he said, he was very sad, he was very upset. The basic reason, of course, that he shared with them now was, my white horse which was stolen last month is still gone. I cannot understand it. So he shared his problem, he shared his woes with the Uncle Khosrow and Aram's mother, and told them that he is very sad. Why is he sad? Because he has lost his horse. His horse was stolen a month back. And he says, I cannot understand because he's looked everywhere, but he's not been able to find it. My Uncle Khosrow became very irritated. We know Uncle Khosrow's temperament, that he is very short-tempered and gets irritated very easily. And he shouted, it's no harm. He says, so he told him that don't bother about it. Don't be worried about it. It's no harm. What is the loss of a horse? He says the loss of a horse is much smaller compared to the loss of their homeland. Uncle Khosrow and their tribe, they had been driven out of their homeland. So he is comparing that his loss is very small. The loss of a horse is much smaller than the loss that they have faced and suffered because of that. Haven't we all lost the homeland? What is this crying over a horse? That means it's futile, it is waste of time to cry over your loss and stop bothering about it now. That may be all right for you, a city dweller. Dweller means to dwell. That means a resident, a person who lives or a person resides, a resident, to say John Biro said. But what of my Surrey? What good is a Surrey without a horse? So he says, you are a city dweller, but for me, I have a carriage. Surrey is a carriage, four-wheel carriage. What good is a Surrey without a horse? And that obviously that carriage used to be pulled by that horse, which has been stolen a month ago. So he is speaking about his difficulties that he and hardships that he is facing due to the fact that his horse has been stolen. So he says, pay no attention to it, my uncle Khosrow rode. She still shouted the same, that pay no attention to it. I walked 10 miles to get here, John Biro said. He says that today, in order to visit you all, he had to walk a distance of 10 miles, which is indeed very long distance. You have legs, my uncle Khosrow shouted. So he still had an answer to that also, that legs are meant to be used to be walking. Thank you so much. That's it.